Hello everyone and welcome back to another week. This week we're going to be making a couple of things for the Super Bowl. A couple of nice simple things. It's going to be great for the family or great for yourself. I'm wearing gloves this week because we're going to be working a lot with barbecue sauce. So we're going to be putting it everywhere, on trays, on meat, on a lot of things. So while gloves are optional, I certainly do recommend them because it's going to be messy. So you know how I am with messes. So let's start with our first thing that we're going to do, these ribs. First thing that we're going to do is open up a bottle of barbecue sauce. You're going to need a lot for this. And you're just going to gently just spread it all over the bottom of a tray. One of these big trays like this one. You want to make sure it gets everywhere. You do not want to be cheap with the barbecue sauce. Want to make sure, you can use any brand you want for this, or really any type of barbecue sauce you want. That's where all the flavor is going to come from, the barbecue sauce. So there's so many ways to do this. You don't really need just one type. Alright, put roughly half of this bottle on. I'm going to be using roughly a bottle and a half of this brand of barbecue sauce for the bottom coating. That's good. This step is entirely optional, but if you want, you can take your a paintbrush or a cooking brush and just spread it all of your barbecue sauce on the bottom. Like so. Make sure you get on the sides, the bottom, everywhere. Alrighty, here's our covered tray. You just want to make sure that you don't get any barbecue sauce on the edges here, because then it'll burn, and you don't want that. You could even make your own barbecue sauce mix, but we're not going to do that this week because we want to keep it nice and simple. Alrighty. Now these are some spare ribs we got here from the supermarket. You might see these in the case and not know what to do with them, but we're going to teach you some nice things to do. So these are cut in half, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take them and put them right onto the tray, like so. Right where my yummy barbecue sauce is. Then now that they're on my tray right there with my ribs, I'm going to take that's the empty bottle. This is the more full one. I'm going to grab out my barbecue sauce and drizzle my sauce all over the top. You want a lot of sauce on the top of these ribs to the point where it almost looks like soup. And the reason you want that is because you want your ribs to be really flavored. As I said earlier, the barbecue sauce is where all the flavor comes from for this type of stuff. So you want to be really generous and make sure the barbecue sauce gets literally everywhere. Wait for this last little bit to come out here. This bottle. There we go. Now we'll just take our brush and put it literally everywhere. All over the ribs. when I was discussing with my mom about in the pre-preparation stages of this meal, she said you want to use so much barbecue sauce that it's looking like soup, and we're going to need a lot of that barbecue sauce because we're going to be cooking this for a long time in the oven. We're going to be cooking this at minimum for an hour, at minimum, covered at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You'll start to see when the ribs are close to being done, you're gonna see the oil start to separate from the barbecue sauce. And if you don't see that, then you're nowhere near to being done. So now that my ribs are nice and covered, what I'm going to do is just put my paintbrush down, move my cutting board away and put that into the sink, grab my pre-cut piece of aluminum foil, or my 2-cut piece of aluminum foil, cover up my ribs, move my computer back for a second. Open up my oven I have here. Almost went to touch it. That would have been a horrible idea. Because I have gloves on. I'm used to thinking that you can just touch it with gloves, but you can't. We're not used to thinking. I'm used to thinking that you can touch them with the oven with mitts. Because I had something on my hand, I got them confused for mitts. Don't do that. Don't be like me. Almost, but didn't actually do it, thankfully. Those are going in. There we go. That's in. We'll get a timer for an hour going now. Timer. Start. That's going for 60 minutes now. We'll come back to these ribs in an hour. On to our next thing. We're going to be making barbecue chicken wings too. So these chicken wings here have been... Sorry, let me zoom in. I'm a little far. So these chicken wings that you can see here, little aerial shot, they have been washed and air dried. And what we're going to do is we're going to be putting them in these trays over here, with barbecue sauce, of course, and then we're going to be making them into barbecue chicken wings. Alright, our first step is we're going to use, barbecue sauce into these bottles. That still is a little... That's a little... Sorry, I'm just a little... No, this is out. Is this out? Sorry, I don't want to waste any barbecue sauce. No, this still definitely has some left. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start sprinkling this barbecue sauce on the bottom of my tray. Just like we did for the ribs. Now the flavor all comes from the barbecue sauce here too. So you want to be very generous here as well. I'm going to give a little more treatment to this one. Remember, we want it to be very generous. And for this one, for this tray at least, you can even spread the barbecue sauce around with your gloved hands, or with your the gloves on your hands, the top of the tray. Sorry, I've been focusing. This is what my tray looks like. What I can actually do is take my gloved hand and start spreading the barbecue sauce all around without the use of a paintbrush for the tray. This is one of the reasons why I like these gloves.